Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Limitless Leaders podcast, where we interview people from all walks of life, including amazing authors like someone we have today, leaders, business owners from lots of different industries, sharing real life experience in real time. So, today I'd love to introduce you to a friend and an amazing thought leader, Leah Mether. Welcome, Leah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, pleasure, pleasure. So, Leah, you're a communication and human skills expert, obsessed with making the tricky people part of leadership and work life easier. I love that. With a practical, straight shooting style, you help leaders and teams communicate clearly, regulate themselves under pressure, and lead courageously through change. You're the author of Soft is the New Hard, and your more recent book, yeah, look at that, Steer Through the Storm, which I'm so excited to talk about, and a regular contributor to global publications, including Fast Company and CEO World. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I always love to kick off with, our journeys, I believe, create or shape us into who we've become and who we're continually becoming. How have you got to what's your backstory? How have you got to doing the amazing work you do today?
Yeah, look, it has been a bit of a story and a meandering path, and there's a few things that come into play here. Eldest of four daughters, so the
Yep.
typical type A personality, high achiever, eldest child who's always had a love of people and a creative flair, love of writing. So that was me as a little child, and I grew up in a little country town in regional Victoria, where I still live today, with three generations of my family and an absolute commitment to community contribution. So from a
Love
big
that. Yeah.
family of volunteers. Uh, Fast forward, I started my career as a journalist. So I was a newspaper
I did
journalist.
not know
Got
that.
yeah. So I was a small town journo, and I often say that a lot of the skills I developed through that career really hold me in good stead today. It's
Yeah,
the
definitely.
relationship building, it's the curiosity. And I would often have people I interviewed say to me afterwards, geez, I just shared way more than I thought I would
Yeah.
with you. And I always saw that as a gift, but also a huge responsibility. Um, I never played on that and went, haha, got you now. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
really
It was
treated
for
that,
good. Yeah.
yeah, with respect.
Yeah.
I then went into corporate communications, if I'm really honest, to fund my love of travel in my 20s, and quite quickly went into a management position there. So I was in leadership in corporate for a water
Yeah.
corporation. I was in leadership in community organisations and did that for a while. And I actually resigned when I started my family. So I know myself well enough to go, I'm all in. I
Yeah.
am not good at doing things half-assed. And
Mm.
going back to work part-time and being a part-time mum, I went, that's not for me. So I resigned and decided I was going to be a full-time mum, but to start a business on the side
Fine.
to keep
Yeah.
my skills up. And that's what I did. I started off doing what I knew, which was comms and media. But then more and more over the years, when I was advising big companies and
Mm.
organizations on their key messages, they were saying to me, but Leah, how do I deliver them? These are difficult conversations. What do I do here? So that's really where it all kicked off for me in the work that I do now,
Yeah.
in terms of communication training, difficult conversations, that emotional regulation really stemmed from people saying to me, the message is great, but what do I do with
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I think you spot on your life passions and the things I say that set your soul on fire are the things that lead you to do what you're doing. You know, there's a lot of I've got a lot of young clients at the moment that are like, I want to do what you do in their mid-20s, and it's like you have to find yourself. And now I did not know you're a journalist because I did journalism for a year.
Ah, there you go.
And then went into marketing and then wanted to be a performer. Then I wanted to be a teacher and then I wanted to be a newsreader. And I think that's why I love what I do 20 years because I do all that. And you're the
Yeah.
same. It's
And
like
people know, if I think, you know, speaking to that journey, like you said, the passions, um,
you can see it. It's an
you
energy.
can see it, you can smell it when it's
Yeah.
inauthentic and when it's a performance that is
Yeah.
not actually who you are.
Yeah.
um, you can really see it. So I do think that those same skills that as a baby journalist in my early 20s um, allowed me to build connection and relationship and for people to feel safe to be vulnerable with me are the same skills now when people,
No
often
different.
very senior leaders,
Yeah.
are opening up about the challenges they're having with the people part. And, so many leaders have been promoted off the back of their technical skills and
That's
experiences
spot on.
and never taught how to do the peopling, how to lead effectively, how to communicate. They're just been left to wing
Yeah.
it. And these people are really competent, but they've never developed this skill set or seen it as a skill set that can be learnt.
Yeah.
And yeah, the world is certainly waking up to the fact that we dropped the ball on these skills and they're
Oh,
actually essential.
definitely. Definitely. And companies that are growing at a fast rate and some of my clients are doubling staff and you're right,
Yeah.
there's the technically brilliant people, but we need to bring in, I call them the power skills, so the soft
Yes.
human skills
Yeah.
um and want to be. How important do you think it is? There's people that are leaders that know they need to work on it, and then they do. And then there's the ones that are like, they've actually said to me, I don't like leading people, right? And it's like you move up in a corporation and society wires us that to go up, you've got to have a team.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I have some strong thoughts on this one.
We love strong thoughts on
I
the show.
I actually had I work in a lot of really male-dominated industries
Same.
where,
Yeah.
very much this is new to them. And it's why the book is called Soft is the New Hard. It's not
Ah,
about being soft. It's going, these are actually the hardest skills. And
yeah.
calling them soft is such a misnomer.
Oh, I just don't like that term.
Oh,
Yeah.
neither me. I,
Yeah.
I, whether it's power skills, I often call them essential human skills. Like it's the
Life
people
skills.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a leader, and I hesitate to call him a leader. I would call him a manager. Um, he said to me in a workshop, I was talking about the importance of caring about your people because people drive performance. And he said to me, yeah, but what if you just don't care?
Yeah, I've had
And
that.
I said to him, then you should not be a leader. And
Yeah,
I
spot
said it
on.
like that, and he was quite taken aback. And I said to him, I am deadly serious. If
Mm,
you do not care about people, do not be a people leader because
no.
that's what it's about. If you want to have success, you have to get the best out of your people,
Yeah.
and they need to want to do good work for you, not because they have to, but because
Mm,
they want to. You will always be frustrated if you are doing that old school command and control.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
will have a limit on the potential you can get from people. They will do what they have to do their jobs, but you will never get them going
Transactional.
over and above
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So for those who say, oh no, but I don't want to do the peopling, then very seriously, do not be a people leader.
Yeah.
Um, what I would also say though is, particularly now, we are at a point of time with the absolute explosion of AI,
Mm,
and it's not going back in a box. In the
no.
next 18 months to
Moving
two
more
years,
rapidly. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bigger
Yeah.
than the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And what it is highlighting, and it's not just me saying this, the research is coming out globally, it's all saying the same thing.
Mm,
Never has it been more important
yeah.
to develop your human skills. It has always been important, but
But
never has it
also,
been more important. Because if you want to separate yourself from the robots, if
yes.
you want to differentiate yourself,
Yeah.
um, I'm speaking at the Australia New Zealand Accounting
Yeah.
Conference shortly. And one of the things, I spoke to them last year as well, and I said to them, accounting is one of those industries that has
Mm.
been earmarked as going to be really, really disrupted by
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
And I said to those leaders, if you want to future proof your careers, if you want to
Mm.
position yourselves with all of this change that is coming, double down on developing your human skills.
Yeah.
Because if AI can do the numbers,
Oh,
if AI can do the technical part and the
yeah.
numbers, then the bit that sets you apart is, well, can you explain it well face to face? Can you
Yeah.
build trust? Can
Yeah.
you empathize with people as you're delivering the news that actually
Mm.
they've got a smaller budget this year?
Yeah.
They're the skills that will ensure that even in a role like accounting, you may be someone who retains their job. But if you
Totally.
sit with that closed mind of going, nah, I don't do the people bit,
It's all
folks,
over.
it's all over.
It's all over, and I resonate because my philosophy is very, very similar. I'm sort of saying to people at the moment, the only thing that will differentiate you as a leader in a brand are the human skills.
Absolutely.
And knowledge, I just shot a video on this morning. Knowledge is no longer power. Anyone can
Yep.
be the smartest person in the
Yep.
room. So, knowledge is no longer power. So, what is? And that's connection, which is my big word, just
Yes.
connecting. And, a manager said this to me in my 20s, Renee, make sure you always lead hearts and minds. And
Mm-hmm.
at 22, you sort of go, huh? But lead hearts and minds. To what you said, Lee, it's not about compliance, it's about commitment from here.
Yes.
And as well, running a business is not easy. And having that true purpose and that heart set purpose, I know that's what's kept me going, especially over the last few years. I'm a big believer, Leah, in everything happens for a lesson, not so much a
Mm-hmm.
reason. I've changed my little viewpoint, but for a lesson. And sometimes we don't see it in the moment. Sometimes it's hidden. Sometimes we're suppressed. And I do a lot of work with bringing in the gift mindset culture. So Win
Mm.
Wednesdays, Failure Fridays, openness, and support to move beyond challenges. Because you would have seen it, leaders that go be honest and then they're penalised.
Yes.
Right? Um, if I asked you to date, and you've been in business
Mm.
15 years, but our whole life comes into what we do, what would be the three biggest gifts or lessons that you've learnt that you'd love to share with others?
Yeah. Oh, such a great question. There is so much to
I
that.
know.
I would say, and it has come up again and again in recent years, as I've faced, as everyone does, challenges in their own life. Um, One of those would absolutely be the importance of knowing who you are and who you want to be. Whether you call it your values, whether you call it, you know, what really drives you, what is important to you, your
Yeah,
person, whether it's your personal brand, but essentially who you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be okay.
I love
My
that.
marriage, separation, and divorce gave me a big gift in that. And my ex husband is not a bad person. We still live in the same small town. But during that, and this is something I've taught for years, but under the pressure of marriage, separation, and divorce, it forced me to really live this, where I asked myself, who do I want to be as I navigate marriage, separation, and
I
divorce?
love
Like,
that question.
what is important to me
Mm.
so that I can do this and be comfortable? Because it's going to get bloody hard.
Oh,
Potential for conflict
and with
ridiculously
children
high.
involved. Yeah,
Three gorgeous kids. And I went, you know what? I married him for a reason, right? It's ending now, but he's not a bad human. He is the father of my three children. We are co-parents of these kids. We are family forever. And
mm,
I went, even as we are going through this really rough time, I want to be able to say I navigated it with nothing but love, kindness, and compassion.
I love
Now,
that.
those words are bloody easy to say,
Not
but
easy to do. No,
under that
no.
pressure, really hard. So what that did though was it gave me a touchstone. So I
Yeah.
kept coming back to that again and again. When I wanted to rant and rave, I would go love, kindness, compassion,
Come from a place of
regulate
love,
yourself,
not fear. Yeah.
regulate yourself. And of course, I'm
Yeah.
human. I had my moments.
Yeah.
When I needed to have my moment, I would do that appropriately and privately with my mum or one of my
That's good.
sisters,
Yeah.
not, not out there publicly. So I would say that that time was in many ways a real gift
Yeah.
as to the importance of asking those hard questions. Who do you want to be? And then
Yeah.
how are you showing up? Are those two
Love.
things in alignment?
I
Huge.
love that. I love that, Leah. Who do you want to be? Because I say we've become human doings, not human beings.
Yeah.
And even in, exec coaching, I'll say to people, and I'm not saying I'm a poster child of this in any form, but I'll go, who are you? And
Yeah.
who do you want to be? And they're like, I'm Amanda. And I'm like, no, no, no. Who are you? And I
Yes.
think it's for those watching or tuning in, that's a really powerful question that sounds easy.
It's
It
not.
sounds simple, but it's not easy to implement. What helped you do that?
I
Did
think
you
it was,
journal or chat or lean into
uh,
support?
yeah, I actually did find during that time, I'm a sporadic journaler, I
You're
would
like me.
say.
Yeah,
It's not a regular practice for me, but what I know because I am a writer, that when my head feels overwhelmed,
yeah.
getting out of my head and onto paper really helps. Um, it
Mm,
was a practice of me very intentionally, just like I do with my clients in workshops, going, begin with the end in mind, to
yeah,
use Stephen Covey's
yeah, yeah,
work. Begin with the end in mind. This is going to get hard. So let's face up to that up front. Um, and then because I got so clear, I literally wrote that out so that I would look at it to be
yeah,
like, no, that's who you are. And then it
yeah,
was the importance of being willing, and this can be, it's tricky, right? Honest self-reflection. So,
mm,
honest self-reflection, I often say, is my polite way of saying, do not bullshit yourself.
yeah, yeah. I
you know?
love it. I love that. And I think I'm a bit the same. I'm a writer, but journaling, even through my cancer journey, you should journal. I could not journal. It actually made me nauseous. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
And I remember things, and obviously you've got milestones in your diary and stuff, but I think it's working out what it is for you,
Yeah.
getting feedback from the outside world. But I think the big thing is who am I and who am I becoming, and knowing that we change. Like
Yes.
you and I go back 6 years before the pandemic. Look at what's happened
Yeah.
personally with both of us, the
Yeah.
world. Um,
And knowing that there's no right or wrong. And I often
yes,
will say this to people: don't give me words that you think you should be telling me because that's what a good leader would say, or that's
yeah,
what, like, it has to really mean something for you. It has
that's
to be
right.
authentic and real, or you won't do it.
Yeah,
So, but that really, being clear on who you want to be is only the first step,
it
because
is.
intention is not the same as what you actually do.
Do,
So then
yeah,
it is that really hard, brutal question of, and if I'm really honest, how am I showing up?
yeah,
What's it like to be around me? Are my actions and behaviors in line with that person?
yeah, yeah.
Because that gap is the work, right? There's
Oh,
always a gap, but that gap is the work. I'm sure anyone listening has heard this before, and I'm sure you've had it before in your trainings too, Renee, when someone will say, oh, yeah, I want to be known for being like, I want
yeah,
to be known for being approachable. And I go, great. So what do you do that
do,
makes you approachable? Oh, well,
yeah.
I
I'm just
just am.
approachable.
Anyone can come and talk to me. But they haven't then asked that second follow-up question of, okay, great. If you want to be known for that, what are you doing about it?
Love it. Yeah, knowing is one thing, doing is where the magic is. And
Yeah.
I think spot on there. It's the action piece. And I always say Australia's a very what economy. So I want to do this or I want to have this.
Yes.
But how? And I do a lot of work on don't share your wins, share them, but how did you get to them? Because most
Yes.
wins you've gone through a bit of a war, right?
Yeah.
Because I think our lessons can be a survival guide for someone else,
Yes.
and bringing that in. But action's just so big. I mean, you go back to the Secret movie, and it's like imagine you get a bike and it's at your door. You've got to work for it. And I always say, and for myself, I'm super focused if I want something. If I'm not, it's like, was that really a thing, or was I
Yes.
doing it for the sake of something else? And
Yes.
sometimes it's ego, right?
Yeah.
How does ego play a place in maybe not bringing in the human skills and really focusing on the technical skills as a default?
Yeah. Well, the reason I think that a lot of leaders focus on the technical is because it's their comfort zone,
That's
right?
right.
That is the bit they're good at. So you're spot on. It's comfortable. There's ego in that.
Mm,
Like I know that I'm good at that. But this, unfortunately, is why so many people get promoted into leadership and then become micromanagers
that's right.
because they don't want to get their nose out of the technical bit because that's where they feel like they do their best
That's
work.
work. Yeah.
And leadership is actually about letting go of that a bit. Yes, you might still have the expertise so you can oversee the team and make sure it's being done properly, but
Yeah.
it's no longer your job to be in the weeds. So there's a couple of things going on there. I think part of it is ego, part of it
Yeah.
is comfort zone.
Yeah.
I do think part of it is also though, um, we people aren't clear about what the role actually
They
requires and what
don't
the
have
role
direct, they're
is.
not self-directed. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it absolutely shows up for me as well. One of the things that I have had to work on really consciously over the years is the fact that I don't need to always be the expert in the room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that effective communication, and I teach this stuff, right? But again,
Mm.
learning to live it is a different thing. I do, again, it goes back to what I said about the eldest of four
Yeah.
daughters, the high achiever, used to
Yeah.
be a perfectionist, now call myself a recovering perfectionist, you know,
I love it.
but it was I wanted the A plus. I wanted to be
Yeah.
right. I wanted to be able to give you the answer. That was my default.
Yeah.
And I have had to really work hard on going, actually, with all that I have learned over the years and what I teach about
Mm.
effective communication, the connection and the vulnerability to say, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I
Does
don't know.
anybody?
What do you
Yeah.
think we
Yeah.
should do? Yeah, I've got an opinion on what's right, but so do you. And
Yeah.
actually, I need to be curious about your idea because maybe your idea is better than mine, Renee. And if it is, have I got the humility to say, actually, let's go with your idea? So
Yeah.
this plays out for me as well. And again, I think often we think of ego and we think,
Oh, it's a
we
really,
associate
yeah.
we associate it with bad,
Yeah.
in terms of ill intent. But I know when my ego shows up, it's with good intent. It's going, I really want to help you, so
Yeah.
I really want to give you the answers. But sometimes the best thing I can do is just park that
Yeah.
and really lean into the curiosity and
Yeah.
ask more questions.
I love that because my next topic's curiosity. And I think
Oh,
I call our ego or our negative inner dialogue the DJ in our head. Don't give
yeah.
it airtime because it's our voice. We tend to listen to it. And as
Mhm.
a lot of people don't know, your mind doesn't know true from false, right? So you got to, your thoughts are the only choice you have to create your feelings and your outcomes. Curiosities, we do a lot of work on that too. I love,
Yeah.
curiosities, childlike wonder. I think it's a superpower.
Oh,
I
me
think
too.
curiosity leads to creativity, co-creation, and collaboration. And I always say, if people say, "Oh, Renee, can you come in for an hour and do a skill pill on curiosity?" I'm like, get a comedian, you'll get more out of it.
Yeah.
Get your team together, be curious about an idea or anything, even if it doesn't come to fruition. The byproduct is collaboration. And I love your quote, get curious, not furious.
Oh, yes.
Curiosity is a leadership, communication, and an emotional regulation superpower.
Hmm.
So how do we get more curious and go back to what I call that childlike wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways here. The childlike wonder piece, just, sometimes actually using that word, wonder, I
Wonder.
wonder, I
Yeah,
wonder what, because people get really stuck in that whole, no, but this is the way it is. So where I will often unlock things for people who do have a very fixed mindset
yeah,
is I'll just go, yeah, no worries. Okay, yep, you're
yeah.
probably right, but just imagine,
Yeah, I love that word. Yeah,
or I wonder, like just to unlock that creativity of what what else could be true.
true.
You may be right, but what else could be happening?
Mm,
But get curious, not furious. That actually became a real mantra for me during COVID,
yeah,
and is
yeah.
one that has continued because I think particularly at this time where there is so much polarization in the world,
Everywhere, in
right
everything.
and wrong, black and white, we're losing
Yeah,
the ability to disagree with respect, to debate ideas without
yeah.
attacking each other. Get curious, not furious is a great skill, and it's a really practical skill
Mm,
that we can put into place.
yeah, yeah.
That it does a few things. So let's say you had just said something that I totally disagreed with, and I everything in me wants to just attack you,
Yeah,
jump down your
yeah,
throat and go,
yeah,
you're wrong, Renee.
yeah,
Get curious, not furious. If I can play that in my head and then action it, what that helps me to do is one, take a deep breath and then ask at least one question
yeah,
before you react. So that might even be, I'm going to be really honest, Renee, I think very differently about that. Can you help me understand where you're
yeah,
coming from? When you say this, what did you mean? So
yeah.
I'm
The backstory. Yeah,
that's give me some
yeah,
context, because it might be
yeah.
that I was about to jump down your throat and then you say to me, well, the way I was raised or my experiences, Leah, or you
Mm,
say, well, the reason I was doing the task that way is because the big boss just came in and told me I needed to. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
creates that gap where one, I can then take some deep breaths and regulate
Mm,
myself. I've asked a question, so I'm getting more information and
yeah,
context. And then
yeah.
even if I still disagree with you, and I'm allowed to disagree with you, that is
Well,
totally fine.
debate with intent trumps harmony for comfort's sake. That's one of
100,
mine. Change
absolutely.
doesn't happen, but make sure it's for the right thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what if I've got curious first, I might then say, okay, so I appreciate that's your perspective, Renee.
yeah, yeah.
However, I think this. Now, when I do that, because I got curious first, what that does is creates an environment where now you're more willing to listen to me as well. So
Yeah.
instead of us just going straight up into an escalated argument,
Expansion. Yeah.
it's expansion. We're getting the information.
Mm.
And even if we don't end up agreeing, and it's, too often we go into an argument or a discussion wanting to win, but
Yeah.
if we walk
Yeah.
away with more of an understanding of ourselves, the other
Yeah.
person, or the issue,
Yeah.
like that is a win.
It
So
is. Yeah. Yeah.
I just can't overstate curiosity.
Oh.
Even if someone does something that upsets you, um, I have a little framework I use when I'm teaching people how to assume positive intent.
Mm.
Most people aren't out to get us or to do a bad job. They just don't communicate well, or they
That's
make a
right. And
mistake.
we awfulize it, and it's really none of our
Yeah,
business, right?
yeah. So the three questions I encourage people to ask
Yeah.
there are, first off, what story am I telling myself?
Yeah.
The second question is, and what else could be true? What's a
Yeah.
more generous assumption? And the third step in this process is, if I'm not sure, go and ask a curious question.
Question. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I think questioning's the key. And I always say one question at a time. Because we do the how are you? Are you good? Is everything okay in the
Yes,
team? And I always liken it, one of my keynotes, when you bump into someone. So I bump into you in the street and you go, hi, Renee. And I go, good, because I'm already thinking
yes,
out there. And I love all those tips, lots of questions, curiosity, and I think bring that into your courageous conversations, which is the
yes.
step in you need to do that. One other thing I add is the human condition thinks in statements.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be in a business, corporate, your own business, and you might go, that team, oh, that business is doing really well. Flip the statement into a question.
Yes.
So, what is that team doing that is making them exceptional? So, as
Yes.
leaders, I always really educate on if you or your team thinking statements, flip it into one open question. But yeah, I think curiosity is a superpower. And, we're curious as kids. I was the
Yeah.
typical, but why, but why, but why?
Yes.
Then we stop doing it because of preconditions and rejection and judgment. And then we have to learn to do it
Yeah.
again. I love that. I wanted to ask you, obviously, you do a lot of work with leaders and teams as well.
Mm.
What does leadership mean to you? Because a bit like you, I don't know about you, but years ago we took leadership off all our branding because it
Yeah.
was so vanilla and it was so common. And then people were like, what do you do? But I think what we both do is give people the tools, frameworks, and insights that the byproduct of all of that is leading. But
Mm.
what's leadership as a definition for you personally?
Yeah. Well, what I often do in the work that I do is I differentiate between leadership and management as a
Management.
skill set,
Yeah,
as a, not as a
totally.
title, not as a title in a structure, but as a skill set. And if I really simplify it, management's about tasks, leadership's about people.
People. Yeah,
And
totally.
actually, you need management skills
You
as
need
well. It's not
both.
dissing management skills, but what I find is a lot of people who are in leadership positions are strong on management.
Yeah.
They do the tasks, they manage
Yeah.
things, they do the schedule, they do the plan, they, get all of that right. And they don't realize that there is a whole different skill set of leadership,
Yeah.
which is the people part. Now, you don't need a title to be a leader.
No, that's a big one for
It's a
people
big
listening.
one.
Some of the
So
best leaders don't have teams.
correct.
Just
And
don't.
it's something to be aware of because you may have a leader in your team who's leading people in the direction you don't want them going. So it can be a good thing or a bad thing,
It
but
can.
they're the person who people want to follow.
Yeah.
A leader. People
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to follow them, but they want to. And a
Yeah.
leader is someone who is aligned on how they think, what they say, and what they do. It is that
Oh, I love it.
alignment. So
Yeah.
they're modeling the behavior. They are showing that that care for people, and they because they understand that people drive performance. Like if you want
Yeah.
to get results,
You
your
need.
people do that work. If
Yeah.
they're doing better work, you get results. So it
Yeah.
really is. It's the person who has the vision. They're supporting, they're developing, they're
Yeah.
coaching, they are leading the way. But you don't need a title. They don't
Uh,
rely on the hierarchy. They don't just tell you what to do. They ask a lot
Much
more questions.
questions.
So
Yeah.
it's a totally different skill set.
It is. It is. I love that. And I think leaders work on the team, managers work in.
Yes.
And I reckon it should be, as you're crafting your leadership, 70% leading, 30%. I always say it's a bit like Batman and Robin or Wonder Woman and Supergirl, just so I'm not, Um,
But again, it's that it's understanding that for a lot of people, not all, but for a lot of people, the
mm,
management is the easier part
yeah,
and it is the more tangible part. And I think this is what trips a lot of people up.
people
They
up.
go, you
Yeah,
can measure if you're ticking things off your to-do list. You can measure that really easily. And it's a mistake to think because you can measure management easily
that
that
it's
it's more
better.
important than leadership.
It's
Often
so
the things
true.
that are
Yeah,
harder to measure are
yeah.
actually the more important things.
I think so. And even new leaders, I know when I got my first leadership role at Mars, I was the high achiever, won all the sales awards, and then I was behind the scenes and I struggled
Yeah.
because everyone would be on stage at conferences and people knew they were my team. And you've got to really relook at your identity. I think that's a big thing.
Mm,
And my mantra in my whole business is people before process, before progress.
absolutely.
So important. Now you've got your two books. Soft is a New Hard. I've actually got that book. Let's
Mm.
talk about your newer book, Steer
Yes.
Through the Storm. First of
Yeah.
all, where can people get this book and find you?
Absolutely. So both books, if you just put either title and my name into your search engine, there
Yeah,
are paperback, audiobook, and
cool.
ebook copies.
Yeah,
I narrate the audiobooks, so
yeah,
check those out. If you want a personally signed copy, order through my website,
yeah.
because if you order through the website, I write a
Regular.
little personal note in
Nice.
it, send it off. So that's, and my website's just leahmether.com.au. So it's nice and easy to
Easy. Yeah,
follow.
yeah. And we'll put all, Leah, we'll put all your contact details and resources in the show notes too. So
Beautiful.
leahmether.com.au or just
Yep.
.com.
.au on the end.
.au. So, what I'd love to ask you now about your latest book, what if I was doing and I've just totally forgotten the name. What's the app
Steer
where
through
they
the storm. Oh,
no,
sorry.
is it Bling, where they just give you the top insight?
Ah,
Oh
yes.
God, I've got the app. I
I
can't
can't
get it.
remember it either, but I know what you mean.
If people were looking at your latest book, what what would be the three biggest insights if I've read that whole book?
Hmm.
What would be the three biggest insights that our listeners and viewers could take away and implement? Just really top line.
Yep. Okay. So, steer through the storm, how to communicate and lead courageously through change. First point would be that leading people through change is different to leading change.
Yes.
So, leading people through change is not about change management.
No, no.
It is about leading people and helping them get through the uncertainty, the challenge, so that they can still perform and get out the other side in better nick.
Yep.
You don't have to be managing the change. It doesn't have to be your change. You don't even have to like the change to be steering people through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second piece would be the fact that, and to use, draw on some of Brene Brown's work, um, leaders must either invest time dealing with the feelings, fears, and concerns of their people,
Yeah.
or expect it to cost them a truckload of time dealing with people problems. So
Mm.
this work is not fluffy, light,
No.
maybe I'll do it. If you want to successfully lead people through change, you actually have to bring people with you. You can
Yeah.
change your process, you can change your structure, but if you don't bring people on the journey
Oh,
with you to get them through,
yeah.
you'll change the structure and everyone will resist and you'll be bashing
Yeah.
your head against a wall. And the third high level piece, really, that the model in the book draws on, is the importance of balancing warmth and strength, empathy and accountability.
Yeah.
We need
Beautiful.
both. We need to care about our people, deal with their feelings and
Mm.
concerns, get curious and guide them through. And we still need them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
We
That's
still need
right.
them to do the work and to show up well. So it's a book that really gives you practical, plain speak
Love that.
strategies on how
That
to
you can
balance
do. Yeah, and I think balance is so important because I'm seeing it, there's a lot of empathy fatigue, compassion fatigue out
that.
there,
Yeah,
where I've even got clients going, I don't want to go home because my kids are difficult and there's nothing left in the tank. So
yeah,
it's really not catching other people's problems, but being a sounding board, and offering insight. And I like the word you used, care. I think
yeah.
care, just being in service to those around you. With Leah, with Limitless Leaders, it's all
Mm,
about learning, unlearning, relearning, and evolving. So we're never an expert. Yep.
yes.
And going from limited, doing what we do well narrowly, to managing teams, leading leaders, and leading industry. To stay limitless, and you are definitely, what are some tips? What do you do for you, around, everyone calls it something different, but self-care, things that have no
Yeah,
purpose that light you up. What
yeah.
do you do for you?
Oh, for me, the big ones, I am a massive reader.
Yeah,
I am a voracious reader of everything from stuff related to my business, but big fiction reader. So
same.
I find I
Yeah,
very rarely watch TV,
yeah,
and reading for me is an absolute joy. I read before bed every day. I read while I eat my breakfast in the
yeah,
morning.
Yeah.
It is something I can dip in and out of, and it is such a joy for me. Getting out into nature, I
Big
live in
one.
a beautiful town beside a big lake with the mountains coming up behind it. For
Mm.
me, getting out into nature, walking, exercising is absolutely crucial
Yeah.
to my well-being. Um, yeah, if I can't do that, I can struggle if I'm not
Yeah.
actually doing that work for myself, getting
Yeah.
out in nature. Reading would be the other big one. And that exercise piece, I feel better
Yeah.
when I'm moving.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. Yeah. Well, they say,
so
what is it? Motion is lotion.
yeah, and the last one I'd chuck in there, and this has been something I've become more and more aware of over the years, probably a bit like you, Renee. I'm a really resilient, independent
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
and I do really well on my own, which
Yeah.
is great. I love all of those things about myself,
Yeah.
things that I really, pride myself on. But I know that, if I'm getting into a bit of a limited space, if
Yeah.
I am not at my best, I will start withdrawing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, it is
Mm.
now one of the top things I look out for,
Yeah.
because when I start thinking, oh, I won't reach out to that friend, or I won't share that I'm actually, in
Going
a bit of
through
a rough
something.
spot
Yeah.
with one of my closest friends,
Yeah. Yeah.
that now is the trigger to go, oh, hang on, just check in
Yeah.
on yourself. What's
Mm.
going on there? And I'm now much better at, not with
Yeah.
everyone, just a very tight group
Yeah.
of actually, I'm reaching out because I don't want to reach out.
Yeah. Just being
So,
upfront and being courageous for you because I think in our line of work and with a lot of leaders that are very invested, we're givers.
yes,
And I'm a crap receiver, and I'll admit it. And
yes,
it's my biggest thing I've learnt the last few years is receiving's not about me. It actually makes the other person feel like they've contributed.
exactly.
Bit like when people go, "Oh, you look lovely," and you go, "Oh, this old dress." That's an
Yes,
insult, you know. Just
yes,
say thanks and
yeah,
leave
they're
it at
giving you
that.
a gift. They are giving
Spot
you a gift.
on. Spot
It's
on.
rude to throw it back.
And that's
Let people
spot
come.
on. And I
Yeah,
think getting out in nature is a big one. I'm a real beach person. I surf, well, not at the moment, but love the ocean. And the minute and
yeah,
we've got plans to move down near the beach, which keep getting put on hold because of things outside. But I think, when we're in nature, our brain can't compute the complexity of it. And that's why we shift back a gear. So when I have people go, "Oh, I work in the middle of the city," and I'm like, there's always a park. Just get the fresh
yes,
air and, your dopamine, your serotonin, it all lifts when we walk. And I think that's important. Even if you're in pain, get out for a 10-minute walk. I
yeah,
think it's important. Oh, we could chat for days, I think. I want to ask you a little quirky, quick trivia.
go
What
for
is
it.
your favorite word? I've just seen it. You
I
can
know
say
what
it.
I got asked. Look, I will say I don't mind an F bomb.
Yeah.
Um, I it's funny because I teach communication and I'm a big word
Yeah.
person. Not so much now, but I have been asked over the years, like, surely you can come up with a better word than a swear word.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think swear words not overused,
No,
but well placed. Sometimes it just says everything
in one
in that
word.
one beautiful little word. So I could
There's some
give you a
satisfaction.
whole I could give you a whole heap of words, Renee.
Yeah.
I am a big word person.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
love words. But if I'm being really honest, and those who are listening who know me, they will know that is the most honest answer that
And I
I
think
could give.
there's some energy because it's a bit forbidden. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
What noise do you love?
Oh, so many. I actually, because I live regionally, I love it when I'm woken up by kookaburras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though they start their warbling at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, when it is a kookaburra, you can't help but, even if you're rolling over in bed, it's with a bit of a smile on your
Yeah,
face.
yeah, definitely. I love that. We got a lot of bird life around here too, and since the pandemic, it's heightened, and
Yeah,
we have got cockatoos at the moment, which annoy me. But I love the noise. I think you feel the changing of the seasons, and I think it's
yeah.
cool. Um, probably know I'm a big foodie. My passion out of work is cooking without recipes.
Yes.
Um, what would be if it's your last night on this planet, what would be your dream last supper?
Oh, it's so hard. I love seafood. Anything
Yeah.
like give me a beautiful big
Oh,
seafood platter with
yeah,
just all the fresh, gorgeous seafood. Look, it would have to have some really well cooked hot chips on there
yeah,
with some
yeah,
chicken
yeah, yeah.
salt. You got to balance,
To
right?
balance it. Yeah,
Um, but a beautiful fresh seafood platter, rocket and parmesan salad on there
yeah.
as well, some hot chips. Oh,
Stop it. All the stuff I
happy
can't
lady.
eat at the
Yeah.
moment.
Oh
No,
no.
I'm almost pescatarian.
Yeah, I
I
could
love
very
seafood.
happily be pescatarian.
Love it. Beautiful. And what profession, and you've done so many things, which is
Mm.
amazing, but what profession other than your own right now would you take on if you could?
Or look, I may be someone who has said I'll go into politics one day. That's a whole
I
other
can picture
podcast.
you in that.
It's something that could potentially be on the bingo card one
Mhm.
day. But if not that, at the total other extreme, I reckon I'd be pretty bloody happy um, just sitting back and writing novels.
Yeah, yeah. We've got so many things in common. It's bizarre. Yeah, because I love reading too. Like it's
Yeah.
such a great escape and release and
Oh,
resource that you can just access. And I've gone back to real books.
yes.
I got a lot when I was in hospital. People were bringing books in, and I'm very, you know me, very driven. So if I'm listening to something on Audible and something comes up, um, but I love that. Yeah, fiction writer. What would you write on? What sort of topics? Like
Oh,
what
look.
sort of,
I actually do have a draft novel in my drawer that I'm going to pull out again. Um, I don't know. It's sort of that I love that modern Australian fiction. I think there's
yeah,
so
yeah,
many great writers at the moment,
yeah,
whether it's in the thriller space, some it's just in that um, more observational
yeah.
that sort of regional noir style. There's
I love
we're
it.
in a really good time of great Australian fiction
We
writers.
are. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, anything in that space.
Love it. Love it. I think I'd go down the fairy, fae, alchemist.
Oh
That,
yes,
that's what I read a lot of, and business books, but I
yep,
find I have 8 books going. I'm an alternative thinker, so I go to the
yep.
book that I feel I need. It's yeah. Leah, it's been amazing, and thank you so much for your time, your
Oh,
insights. Those listening, watching, make sure you jump on Leah's website. Everything will be in the show notes. So thank you.
thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for listening. I've loved this conversation.
Oh, it's been, and it's so nice when you're actually talking and interviewing people that have a similar philosophy. I think it's powerful. Those of you that have tuned in, just keep an eye out. We're launching the Limitless Leadership Intelligence program, and it's an 8 week challenge starting in July, 90 minutes a week, where we go through 16 key indicators of leading in a world of AI. So jump on our events page at reneegiarrusso.com, get your spot. We're keeping it to a small group. And if you're in Melbourne, we are going to have a Limitless Leaders Connection dinner at the end. So we'd love to see you there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again, Leah, for your amazing gold wisdom. And we'll see you and you can hear us next time.